fence between us. When Arian's family moved in next door, I thought, finally, some peace. The last neighbor had a yappy dog and an even louder voice. I imagined quiet evenings with my books, soft breezes rustling the pages, and maybe polite hellos over the fence. What I didn't imagine was him. I first saw him when I leaned over the fence with my best neighborly smile. "Hi, I'm Laya. I guess we're neighbors now," I said, hugging a book to my chest. He didn't even look at me properly. Just glanced up from fixing his motorcycle, dark hair falling over his forehead, expression cold as ice. "I noticed," he said, and that was it. I stood there, awkward, feeling like I'd tried to pet a cat and it hissed at me. I told myself, fine, maybe he's shy. But day after day I'd offer small smiles, little hellos, and he'd either nod stiffly or ignore me completely. In my head, I started calling him Mr. Iceberg. I tried to be patient, I really did. But somehow, every time I sat outside with my book under the old oak tree, he'd find a reason to start hammering something, or sawing, or revving his stupid motorcycle. One afternoon, I couldn't take it anymore. I peeked over the fence. "Do you have to do that now?" I was in the middle of a really good chapter, I said, louder than I meant to. He wiped his hands, finally looked at me, and those eyes, cold but so steady, met mine. "The world doesn't stop for your books," he said, calm as ever. I opened my mouth to argue, but he'd already turned away. "Apparently, the world revolves around you and your bike," I muttered, too quiet for him to hear. And that was how we spent the first few months. Me, reading and fuming. Him, cold and distant, yet always there. Then came that stormy night. I'd just come home, my car full of books from the secondhand shop. The rain started as I tried to drag the heavy box inside. And of course, the bottom of the box gave out books tumbling into the mud. I was close to tears, trying to gather them up, when suddenly another pair of hands joined mine. I looked up and there was Arian, rain dripping from his hair, expression unreadable. "I thought you didn't like books," I said, my voice small under the roar of the rain. "I don't hate books," he said quietly. "I hate noise." Together we gathered the books. He didn't say another word, just helped, then walked away. Later that night, I found a plastic cover folded neatly on my porch. A note written in sharp, neat handwriting. "For your books, rain happens. Arian." I didn't know what surprised me more, the note or that he'd noticed. After that, he changed. Not warm exactly, but different. He stopped revving his motorcycle when I was outside. He'd glance my way sometimes, as if checking if I was there. I started leaving tiny offerings on the fence, a cup of tea when he worked late, a handmade bookmark, a soft thank you. And then one afternoon, I found a small potted succulent on the fence. The note made me smile for hours. "Thought this might survive near your books." I thanked him. He just shrugged, but I caught a flicker of something amusement. Warmth? One evening, I saw him sitting alone on his porch, looking up at the stars. Something in me just went to him. "Do you always look so serious, or is that just for me?" I teased, leaning on the fence. To my shock, he laughed soft, real, like he surprised himself. "You're nosy," he said, but his tone wasn't harsh. "Only with neighbors who act like mysterious villains in novels." I'm not a villain, he said quietly. Just don't like people much. Lucky for you, I'm not people. I'm a bookworm. We're harmless. We talked for hours that night about stars, about dreams, about the things we didn't say out loud before. Weeks passed. Arian still didn't talk much, but his actions spoke louder, fixing my broken porch step, offering me rides when it rained, listening quietly when I rambled about books. And one evening, as the sky turned pink behind the fence, he finally said it. I used to think quiet was all I needed, he said, but now I like your kind of quiet, the kind where you're here. My heart felt full. I'm glad, I whispered, because I like your kind of quiet too. He hesitated, then reached over the fence and took my hand. Now, the fence between us is covered in vines and fairy lights. I read under the tree, and Arian sits nearby, sketching or fixing things, content in our shared silence. Funny, isn't it? How the boy I thought was made of ice turned out to be the one who made me feel warmest of all.